The most striking physical contrast in a sexless long-term relationship is the geography of the bed. Two bodies rest in extreme proximity, yet remain separated by a vast, seemingly uncrossable emotional gap. Human psychology hates a vacuum. When physical touch disappears, empty space immediately floods with secondary reactions like raw frustration and simmering resentment. These loud emotions build a psychological trap. They convince a person that their options are limited to either pressuring their partner for intimacy or trying to fix them so the relationship functions again. The physical deprivation hides a much deeper threat. This invisible emotional vacuum actively erodes a person's sense of identity. Society enforces a specific script for men facing this kind of relational rejection. The unspoken instruction is to swallow the experience and endure the situation in complete silence. Internalizing daily rejection breeds a sense of invisibility. Over time, a man begins to feel like a ghost haunting the halls of his own home. This creates a powerful paradox. Working to mask the pain and keep the peace at the dinner table only deepens internal alienation and despair. What starts as a breakdown in communication between two partners eventually becomes a locked, solitary psychological prison. To dismantle that prison, we have to look past overt behaviors and examine the hidden psychological drivers underneath. The wheel of emotions illustrates how feelings operate in layers. The outer ring packs aggressive reactions like anger and frustration, acting as emotional camouflage. Frameworks like EFT strip away this armor, revealing the core primary emotions where profound loneliness, shame, and guilt live. Anger is a defensive shield. It is deployed by the brain to protect those deep, raw vulnerabilities from experiencing further rejection. Operating entirely through that defensive shield creates a cycle of distancing. Communicating from a place of anger automatically triggers a partner's retreat. This feedback loop is mechanical. Anger triggers withdrawal, widening the emotional gap. That distance fuels feelings of rejection, looping back into defensive anger. Breaking this requires a psychological pattern interrupter. The V.O.I.C.E model acts as a wedge to shatter these connecting lines. This framework forces a person to bypass the anger. It requires identifying underlying needs from the center of that emotional wheel and translating them into safe, nonviolent communication. Breaking the cycle of distance requires abandoning the safety of anger and adopting a new vocabulary built on vulnerability. Because this internal work often requires navigating intense feelings of shame, it is frequently conducted within the safety of a specialized support group. In this collective setting, the objective moves away from being a strategy to manipulate a partner into physical intimacy. The focus shifts entirely to personal emotional liberation. It is about mapping one's own internal landscape and finally finding an authentic voice. Developing emotional closeness and relational resilience remains possible, even if the sexual gaps within the marriage are not currently resolved. Success in this journey is marked by the restoration of personal agency and self-worth, providing a foundation of stability that doesn't depend on a partner's immediate reaction. A support group provides a functional counterweight to solitary suffering. It replaces the silence of the home with a space where peers navigate the same empty geography. Externalizing these hidden feelings among other men helps neutralize the toxic shame associated with sexual rejection. This process highlights a specific insight from the clinical research. The deepest tragedy of an intimacy-depleted relationship is not the lack of physical touch. As the source material concludes, sometimes the greatest pain isn't the absence of sex, it is the feeling that you are dealing with it alone. Stepping into shared vulnerability offers a practical way to break that isolation and begin rebuilding a sense of connection.